And welcome back YouTube to another episode of From the Depths. And today we're building a gun. Now this is something of what I do is usually I take the biggest component on the ship, which usually is the weapon system of the gun, and then build the ship more or less around it. And that's why building separate guns is usually a good idea in my opinion. You get to understand what space you need on the vessel and stuff like that. Now, if you're of course really good with building ships and stuff, then of course you can go around that and just build it by intuition, and that can kind of work, but you know, I can't do that. So yeah, first thing, let's decide on a shell. Now, I kind of already have built this gun already and also built the shell, and pretty much using something like this. Now I do want the gun to be safe, that's why there is an emergency ejector on board. A hollow point there is pretty much not because it would have great characteristic or because we would want to do a lot of thumb damage or something, but it actually has a good contact explosion, if you want to put it this way. AP shells, if they bounce, they bounce. Heavy heads, if they bounce, they bounce. But hollow point usually has pretty decent angles when it hits, so it near always does damage, so we don't really need any additional fuses or anything like that. Even though we could have one. I mean, 1852, yeah, we could put something like an inertia fuse on it, maximum length of only 100 millimeters. But yeah, 236 millimeter gun. And I actually want to also use railguns, so if we check like 2,500, which I can get out of a gun like this, 800 meters a second, that's gonna be completely sufficient for hitting up faster targets, and that's all we are really here for with these guns. And let's just go building, right? 5 meter turret, pretty much. I intend to build a triple turret, even though for the ship of this size, like I'm aiming for 10,000 volume. I think we could do with a single gun turret. It would be preferable actually in a lot of the cases, making it slightly smaller, slightly cheaper, and also, I mean, we could fit more stuff onto it, single gun, and still have all the advantages of you know, firing fast, hitting targets, etc. But yeah, I want a triple gun, and I want also a gun that we can upscale later on, meaning that we can add a bigger, you know, autoloaders or something like that, and we should be able to fairly easily get, you know, bigger gun, higher caliber, etc. So yeah, this is actually the type of gun built. It's something that's somewhat of an antique at this point, I'm guessing, because this type of guns I started to build like way back. I think these are still on the, what was it, season 1, when we were using a complete different guns, but actually back then this type of gun was actually something that I already was building. So it's an obsolete way, I'm guessing that could be done a lot more efficiently, but yeah, it's gonna be good enough for this purpose, because the size of the ship that we're using, the ship main weaponry will be missiles. 10 to 15,000. Yeah, missiles, torpedoes are kind of the main weaponry. Still, I want to have a gun, and I want to have a triple gun, and that's what we're getting. Even though, as I said, not the most efficient ways of building guns, not the most efficient gun for the size of the vessel. Still, it's gonna serve us to an extent, potentially disabling optics and stuff like that on board enemy vessels, as well. As I said, do wanna hit, you know, those really fast targets. Now do take note, these type of guns I actually build them very similarly in Vara and Peggy. Both kind of had these type of guns on board, even though it's different at the same time. Actually, yeah, it's gonna be fine. This one at the bottom, this one here, and yeah, and compared to those guns, this one is actually one block taller. Because one of the problems that those guns did had was their ammo input was actually very, very poor. So how the hell? Yes, like that. I was right and wrong at the same time. Yeah, but those guns were have very bad inputs and would usually take a while after they ran out of ammo to reload. So I kind of wanted to get more prolonged action out of them, and this gun will most likely allow us to do that slightly bit better, more intakes, more ammo, also more autoloaders. So technically we could fire faster, but I think we're gonna be still stuck morely by the cooling rather than by the amount of autoloaders we're having. But yeah, so this is like the center gun. Well, one more. That's why it's like in a kind of straight line, and we're gonna build the other two guns on the side. And now we can kind of go see how the rail compartments will go. Ooh, there's a lot of clicking in between the menus at this point. But yeah, this size of gun, as I said, 10,000, 15,000 volume ship. Not gonna be the greatest guns ever, but they're gonna be, you know, sufficient for our purpose. As I said, I don't really want the best guns, just more or less kind of the looks kind of gun. But later on, we will be able to upscale it. Even though we're gonna have to build it right off this bottom yet again, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna do just fine. How long the neck? Well, first we're gonna have a metal layer, then we have an alloy layer, then we actually have the neck, and at the top is going to be the turret. So that's how I decided on just one more block here and the advanced firing piece. It is kind of awkward to build guns and you have to put like, I always put this block at the bottom, but as you may note, you can't do that. Like F3, can we do it with the, nope, you can't do it in a key base mode either, so that's annoying. But you know, it is what it is. This is also something that confused me when I was first started building guns. It really didn't know how to place this splitter down. It really took me a while before I realized that you could just, you know, do this a bit of a trickery out of it. Now, of course, required accuracy before firing. We should put this to as low as possible. It's more or less because the way that the aiming system works, if you have like 2%, then the aiming system follows the target and your gun nearby always miss. So having this at 0.1, it's gonna do less of so. I think we're gonna get like 40 rounds a minute out of this. Railgun, we said 2,500. And now all we need is the shells. And this should give us, yeah, 44 autoloader limit, ammo intake only 32, cooling limit 45, and if you check the railguns, 1.25 second charging time. Okay, this is actually gonna be just right. 40 rounds a minute would mean around 1.5 seconds that we have between shots. So 1.25 is gonna be just good enough. The coolant is just good enough. Ammo intake limit 32 rounds. Well, we have 200 shells in this gun, which gives us a good 5 minutes or so firing, but then combine that with the intakes, which gonna be taking 32 rounds a minute, so recovering 2/3 of the ammo, 3/4 of the ammo that will be firing. Yeah, I think we're gonna get something like really quick math around 15 or so minutes of constant 40 rounds a minute before we start running out, and that's more than enough for most engagements. Yeah, it's gonna be just sufficient in that prospect. Also, I'm building this on this platform here, which is something I would recommend. The moment you start building guns or testing weapons, having like a fortress with just you know, RTGs on board and some energy, some ammo, and just, you know, a flat base to build your weapons onto, it will do just fine for testing purposes. Not something you would put into the game, but most definitely something that is used in this capacity. And should I also note that I don't really need 8 meters of barrels, but I'm still doing that. It does give slightly better accuracy compared to only having 4-meter barrels, which is, I think, something we would actually need for the propellant build. Yeah, barrel length for 0.3 base accuracy is 4.4 meters. So yeah, we don't really need 8 meters of barrels, but getting away what we can get away with. Oh yeah, set it up a bit in advance so that we don't forget later on. And you 2,500 we said. And same on this side. And I like that. 40 rounds a minute. 2,500. We said that. Alright. I don't think it's gonna be enough of real charges there, but we can compensate for later on. Just like that. To here. Also, the reason why I'm pretty much building these statues is, of course, the obvious, to make the gun as round as possible and allowing us to fit it into a smaller hull. That's the whole point of this kind of Tetris designs on the guns. Also, I said I wanted the guns to be as safe as possible. Is that an absolute must? And kinda not really. At the moment, they actually buffed the... Yes. They buffed the damage on... the HP and armor a bit of the autoloaders and ammo boxes, clips, and the clips. So yeah, those two are now slightly bit more durable, but that's not even the main part. They also reduce the damage that the shells do to the vehicles that are on, which is kind of funky. In the old days, having like an ejector or building the guns as safe as possible was like a must. Now it doesn't feel like it anymore. We could get away like using pure kinetic shells up as well, and those wouldn't really require any ejectors not to damage the ship. I still like to put them on. One for, well, having, if you ever change the guns, like fragmentation can still do a lot of damage to your own vessel. But, you know, also just for the sake of it, this one has here and here. Like that. And top here. Yeah. One may notice a lot of touches going on. Lots and lots of Tetris. Let's turn you guys on the other side around. I'm not even sure whether or not this influences, but the reason I'm turning this around is so that every ammo clip has at least one ammo intake connected to it. So, you know, I'm not really sure if that actually influences anything. Would have to test it on at this point, really. But, you know, it's still, I just do it for doing its sake. So, this one up here, and you in here. Yes, now I do suspect we will not have enough rails charges, so we're gonna see here. And 2.5 seconds, not good enough. Everything else, ooh, ammo intake limit only 24. I think I missed a couple of these. Yeah, always forgotten a couple of ammo intakes. This one has one here, yes. Missing them like this. Yeah, you get quite quickly. I get quite quickly confused with this. 28.6. We're still missing a couple of them. And yep, it's up here one. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think that's gonna be kind of good enough. We're gonna have to see how many rail charges we also have to fit on. And we don't need this one. 32.3. So the center gun also has 32.3. 32.3. Collation is only at 40 rounds a minute, so it's right there. But it's going to be good enough. Now for the rest of the rail charges. Wrong. Always filling them in the right direction, otherwise they will not function properly. Yep. Here one, and I think we have enough space for one here as well. Yes. Railguns, 1:39 seconds. Yes, this is gonna be just fine enough. We pretty much need 1.5 seconds. Getting, you know, that bit faster than that. Can we do without this one? Yeah, no. We do need that one. I mean, technically, we could put it in here. And now, 1:39 as well. So yeah, that happened. And now, well, for the last piece, recoil absorbers. Let's put a 6-way connector first. 1, 2, 3, like that. And we should be able to fit a recoil absorber in here. On both sides, yes. Because the neck is so wide, we actually have somewhat of liberty here, a tad bit, of how we want to place this without actually going out of bounds that much. Okay. I can't fit anything else. Like that. Yeah. Tad bit of armor on it as well. Just the neck for now. We can design the rest of the gun later on. Just enough to give this gun somewhat under neck protection. In the worst case scenario, this thing pretty much just holds the gun together. But yeah, the recoil absorption, not great. Not really great. This one is actually fine enough. 3,200, we can actually exchange a couple of these. Absorption, slightly bit better. It's gonna be good enough. You don't have to go like full way for the absorption at the moment, but having some, it's nice. It does ruin the accuracy. We would still need to design the turret top, but I guess leaving that for later is fine enough once we actually start building the ship. And now just to pretty much test it, I'm gonna place a couple of blocks around and around just to make sure that the turret will spin in somewhat of a confined space. And I'm also gonna extend this a bit to the neck as well. Okay. You'll not assign, are you? Nope. Yeah. To all the components that are not assigned, they will be colored red. Like that. This is like the hull of the ship, representative of it. And now, let's see if we can turn. Yeah, we can do a 360, absolute no issues whatsoever at all. And as the end result, well, it's a successful one. Now let's do a bit of a shooting test up as well. Yeah, the center one is reloaded, but the other two are not. Yeah. These are looking okay. This one is looking okay. This one is looking okay. Yeah, with a bit of a modification, we could actually build slightly bigger guns. 236mm is not the best. It's right in between where the guns don't usually do enough damage, but at the same time do not have that rate of fire. And that's why building a single gun with single gun turret would be preferable, because you can get slightly bit extra reload rate out of those. Yeah. But yeah, they're right in between. You know, not enough damage and not enough fire rate. So we're pretty much have built a turret here that has like 120 rounds a minute. Which is like, okay. It's not great though. It's not great. And for the ship of this size, as I said, maybe building smaller, maybe building slightly bigger guns would potentially be more advantageous to us. And no, the guns, by no extent, this is like the best gun ever. No, it's more for the look's sakes than more than anything else. But yeah, we're gonna have to see. 193, 189, 836 meters a second. So let's see. Pull in the marauder. Oh wait, we should definitely turn the god mode on. Yeah, you can't see anything because you have no detection. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, do take note, its marauder is made out of wood, so this type of shells do pretty quick work out of it. But of course not as quick of a work as missiles gonna do, and that's why this is pretty much a secondary weapon on our vessel. Yeah, they're doing fine. Let's check how our gun inaccuracy is stacking up. I'm pretty sure it's 0.7 from recoil. Yeah, we're gonna have to be mindful of that, but see if we can slightly bit improve it once we actually build the entire turret top on the ship up as well. But yeah, for like, you know, 10,000 or so volume vessel, I think it's gonna be fine. 10-15,000 there. When we hit our flying square with these guns. Yep. Not exactly the most accurate guns, but you know, they do have the shell speed to follow the target rather closely. It's fine. It's gonna be fine actually. Especially when we're gonna be trying to hit a slightly bigger target. As some may note, we have bigger and bigger ships in the game, but they're still like pretty fast vessels. At the currents, a lot of lightning hood ships, pretty fast. Hitting those with guns is actually difficult a bit, even thanks to their size. I mean, they don't make it slightly bit easier, but having a decent shell speed on board, definitely not going to hurt us. And pretty much that's what we're getting for here. And yeah, we're maintaining fairly stable rate of fire, as you may note. Not losing shells. I mean, as long as we don't run the ammo clips, how many shells we still have 177 shells in the clips, so that's actually pretty decent. Only firing, getting our ammo back relatively quickly, actually. So that's good. And of course, you know. Oh, finally hit another flying squirrel. Yeah, hitting smaller targets with guns, you would want faster firing guns. Maybe not that fast shell speed, but something that can fire as fast as possible and just fill the sky with shells. But you know, hitting the target, yeah. Should we put something like slightly bit more armor on board? Let's put in like the Victoria. Victoria doesn't have a lot of armor, but how well will we fare against metal? And yeah, you see, this is something to expect out of this type of guns. They don't really perform all that great. They do not do that amount of damage. Now we could switch them to pure kinetic shells. It could do slightly bit better, but yeah, I'm not thinking they're gonna do that much in the battle. As I'm gonna keep on saying, missiles for this size of a ship, or the size of a ship that this gun is planned to be put on, will most likely end up being the prime weapon. And this gun is more aesthetic or for the looks, and you know, it's gonna do things, you know, take out certain system on board enemy vessels. Potentially we could even turn them to flak and have them as an anti-missile system, even though that would be... Yeah, I mean, it could work actually. Funny ideas that happen when you're building stuff, yeah. But yeah, the best part, of course, of this gun is the ability that we're gonna be able to upscale it later on. It's not gonna be the greatest thing ever, but like 3-meter shells, it's gonna raise the turret size by 2 blocks upward, and we're gonna get it, you know, bigger guns on a bigger ship in the future. So I think we're gonna do this type of turrets. We're gonna do just fine with them. Yeah. Also, manual aim does wonders. I'm pretty sure we would not be this consistent hitting if we would have it on the AI mode. But yeah, it works. The gun works. Still firing. Let's see how many shells we have in the ammo rack. I guess gonna be somewhere around 100 left or so. But yeah, we are actually... the 3 guns are still in sync. 150, wow. 140, 150 shells still left. Dude. I thought we're gonna be running out of it faster, but... yeah. 15-20 minutes, yeah. That's pretty much where we're gonna start running into a problem of running out of shells on these guns. Now, there was a bit of a... running into a campaign and trying to use the guns from the Invara and Peggy, and both of those guns, they failed to reload. When we pulled ships out of play, those guns failed to reload. So whatever recovery we can get during battles, I think it's a huge plus there. So having longer period of time in action, definitely gonna hurt. And do take note, these turrets are like 1 block taller compared to those, and from what I can see here, quite a lot more competent. So yeah, so that's gonna be it. As well, this is gonna be it for the end of this video. And well, see ya.